Most drivers know the feeling. You open your car door on a hot afternoon, and a wave of stale air hits you immediately. Maybe it's yesterday's fast food. Maybe it's a spilled drink that vanished weeks ago. Maybe it's that mysterious odor that seems to live inside the vehicle no matter how many air fresheners you buy. The modern solution is usually the same. Hang another scented tree. Buy another deodorizing spray. Try another expensive product promising a fresh-smelling car. But what if the real answer costs less than $1? And what if a community that rarely uses modern conveniences discovered this solution generations ago? The Amish have never depended on commercial car deodorizers. Yet many Amish families have long used a simple household trick that naturally absorbs odors instead of merely covering them up. And the most surprising part? The secret isn't a rare ingredient or a complicated process. It's something many people already have sitting in their homes right now. Across the rolling countryside of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, and other Amish communities, simplicity remains a guiding principle of daily life. While many outsiders focus on the Amish rejection of certain technologies, far fewer people notice something else. The Amish have developed countless practical solutions for everyday problems using ordinary materials. These solutions are often inexpensive, effective, and surprisingly timeless. Today, we're exploring one of the simplest examples. A natural odor-fighting method that costs almost nothing, requires no chemicals, and has quietly survived for generations. But this story isn't really about cars. It's about a larger Amish philosophy that values solving problems at their source rather than masking them with temporary fixes. And as you'll soon discover, that lesson may be more relevant today than ever before. Picture a typical parking lot on a summer afternoon. Rows of vehicles sit baking under the sun. Inside those vehicles, temperatures can climb dramatically. Plastic surfaces heat up. Fabric seats trap moisture. Food particles hide beneath seats. Dust collects in vents. Over time, odors begin to accumulate. The average driver rarely notices the gradual change. Day after day, the smells build slowly until one morning something seems different. The vehicle no longer smells clean. That's when many people turn to commercial air fresheners. Entire store aisles are dedicated to solving this problem. Colorful sprays. Hanging fragrances. Vent clips. Scented gels. Electronic diffusers. The choices seem endless. Yet many of these products do something surprisingly simple. They add stronger smells on top of existing odors. The source of the odor often remains untouched. The Amish approach tends to be different. For generations, Amish families have favored practical solutions that address root causes whenever possible. And that mindset shaped how they dealt with unpleasant smells long before modern deodorizing products filled store shelves. But that's only part of the story. The real secret begins with understanding how odors actually work. Imagine stepping into an old Amish farmhouse. A wood stove warms the kitchen. Fresh bread cools on a nearby table. Sunlight filters through simple curtains. Everything feels clean and welcoming. Yet many Amish homes achieve this atmosphere without relying heavily on commercial fragrances. The reason lies in an important principle. Bad smells are often caused by tiny particles suspended in the air. Masking those particles doesn't remove them. It only competes with them. This understanding led many Amish households toward natural odor absorbers rather than artificial scents. One of the most common was ordinary baking soda. A simple white powder. Inexpensive. Easy to store. Available almost everywhere. For decades, families have placed small containers of baking soda in cupboards, pantries, refrigerators, storage areas, and enclosed spaces where odors tend to develop. The powder works by helping neutralize many odor-causing compounds rather than simply covering them up. And this is where things become even more interesting. The same principle applies remarkably well inside vehicles. The famous Amish odor solution is almost unbelievably simple. A small open container of baking soda. That's it. No batteries. No chemicals. No artificial fragrances. No complicated instructions. Many families place a small bowl, jar, cloth pouch, or breathable container filled with baking soda in areas where odors tend to collect. Over time, the powder helps absorb and neutralize unwanted smells. In a vehicle, the container can be placed securely beneath a seat or in another protected location. The cost is often less than $1. One package can last a long time. And unlike many commercial products, it doesn't introduce additional fragrances into the environment. For Amish communities that emphasize practicality and thrift, the appeal is obvious. Why purchase expensive specialty products when a simple household staple can often accomplish the same goal? But what happened next surprised many outsiders. The baking soda trick was only one part of a much larger system. Because Amish families understand something many people overlook. No deodorizer can permanently solve a problem if the source remains untouched. Travel through Amish country during the early morning hours. You'll see chores beginning before sunrise. Barns being cleaned. Tools being organized. Workshops swept. Living spaces maintained. Order and cleanliness are deeply woven into everyday routines. This habit extends far beyond appearances. Regular cleaning prevents odor problems from developing in the first place. Food scraps are removed quickly. Moisture is addressed early. Clutter is minimized. Airflow is encouraged whenever possible. These small actions create powerful results over time. Modern life often encourages quick fixes. Something smells bad. Spray it. Something looks dirty. Cover it. Something breaks. Replace it. The Amish perspective tends to focus on maintenance instead. Small daily efforts prevent larger problems later. When applied to vehicles, this means removing trash regularly. Cleaning spills immediately. Vacuuming debris before it accumulates. Allowing fresh air to circulate. The baking soda helps. But the real secret is consistency. And this lesson reaches far beyond odor control. One reason Amish practices continue attracting attention is that they frequently reveal an unexpected truth. Simple solutions are often remarkably effective. Consider the tools found in a traditional Amish workshop. Hand planes. Chisels. Saws. Hammers. Many designs have changed very little over generations. Why? Because they work. The same philosophy applies to household management. Instead of chasing every new product that appears on store shelves, Amish families often ask a straightforward question. Does this actually solve the problem? If the answer is yes, there may be little reason to complicate matters. This mindset can feel surprisingly refreshing in today's world. Modern consumers are constantly presented with new versions of old solutions. New packaging. New branding. New promises. Yet many traditional remedies continue surviving because they remain effective. The baking soda trick is a perfect example. Simple. Affordable. Accessible. And still useful decades after it first became popular. But the most remarkable part comes later. Because this tiny household habit reveals something much larger about Amish resilience. As evening settles over Amish farmland, lantern light begins appearing in windows. Horse-drawn buggies travel quiet roads. Families gather around dinner tables. Conversations replace screens. Skills pass naturally from one generation to the next. Practical knowledge is treated as something valuable. Children learn not only what works but why it works. How to preserve food. How to repair tools. How to care for animals. How to maintain buildings. How to solve everyday problems using available resources. These lessons create confidence. When challenges arise, people don't immediately look for specialized products or outside solutions. they first consider what they already have. This resourcefulness has helped Amish communities remain resilient through economic changes, technological shifts, and countless challenges over the decades. The baking soda trick may seem small, but it reflects a much larger habit of mind. A habit that asks, what simple solution already exists? And that question can often lead to surprisingly effective answers. There's another side to this story that many people never consider. Modern lifestyles often create conditions that encourage odors. Fast food consumed in vehicles. Long commutes. Synthetic materials. Busy schedules. Limited cleaning time. Constant movement. Cars increasingly function as mobile offices, dining rooms, storage spaces, and transportation hubs all at once. As a result, odors accumulate faster than ever. By contrast, traditional Amish transportation has historically involved horse-drawn buggies and simpler travel patterns. Daily routines are often structured differently. Community life remains more localized. While Amish families certainly face their own challenges, their slower pace can make maintenance easier to incorporate into daily life. And this is where things become especially relevant for modern viewers. Because the real lesson isn't about becoming Amish. It's about recognizing the value of intentional habits. The Amish odor solution offers several lessons anyone can apply. First, simple doesn't mean ineffective. Many problems can be solved with basic, affordable tools. Second, prevention is often easier than correction. Small daily habits can eliminate larger problems later. Third, addressing root causes usually produces better long-term results than masking symptoms. And finally, resourcefulness remains one of the most valuable skills a person can develop. You don't need to live on a farm. You don't need a horse and buggy. You don't need to abandon modern technology. But you can benefit from asking the same practical questions the Amish have asked for generations. Is there a simpler solution? Is there a more sustainable approach? Can this problem be solved at its source? These questions apply not only to odors but to countless challenges in everyday life. And perhaps that's why Amish wisdom continues attracting attention from people around the world. Not because it's old, but because it often remains surprisingly relevant. In the end, the story of the Amish car deodorizer isn't really about baking soda. It's about perspective. In a world filled with products designed to hide problems, the Amish approach encourages something different. Understand the problem. Address the cause. Keep solutions simple whenever possible. A $1 box of baking soda may never seem exciting. It won't come with flashy advertising. It won't promise revolutionary technology. Yet for generations, it has quietly helped eliminate odors in homes, storage spaces, and vehicles. More importantly, it reminds us that effective solutions don't always need to be expensive. Sometimes the answer has been sitting on a pantry shelf all along. And perhaps that's why so many Amish traditions continue enduring. Not because they reject every modern invention, but because they recognize that some of the most reliable solutions are often the simplest. The next time you step into a vehicle filled with stale air, consider the lesson hidden behind this humble Amish practice. Sometimes lasting freshness doesn't come from adding more. Sometimes it comes from removing what doesn't belong in the first place. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed learning about Amish life and hidden traditions that most people never see, be sure to subscribe and join us for more fascinating stories from beyond the Amish world.